Chioma was born in a small village on the outskirts of Lagos, where life was simple and opportunities were few. Her father, Obi, was a mechanic, and her mother, Nneka, sold vegetables at the local market. Despite their humble means, they were known in the community for their honesty and strong values. Chioma grew up watching her parents work tirelessly from dawn till dusk, always ensuring that their family had enough to eat, even if they themselves went without. Their home was a small, weather-beaten structure with rusted iron sheets for roofing. The rooms were tiny, and the walls bore the marks of years of wear, but it was a place filled with love and laughter. The sounds of her younger siblings playing outside or helping with chores were a constant reminder that, while they were poor, they had each other. From an early age, Chioma learned the value of hard work. She would wake up before dawn, helping her mother in the kitchen before running off to school. Nneka would always say, "Chioma, education is the only way out of this life. You have to work hard and change your destiny." And Chioma believed it. She excelled in school, often staying up late to study by candlelight, determined to make her family proud. Her father, though not a man of many words, would often pat her on the shoulder and say, "Keep your head high, my daughter. One day, you'll be the star of this family." As the years passed, Chioma's dream of breaking the cycle of poverty grew stronger. She watched as her peers settled into lives that mirrored their parents, working as market traders, mechanics, or small-time farmers. But Chioma wanted more. She longed for the bustling city of Lagos, where she believed endless opportunities awaited. On the weekends, when her chores were done, Chioma would walk down to the town's only library, a dilapidated building that hadn't seen new books in decades. There, she would read old newspapers and magazines, absorbing stories about women who had made it in Lagos, CEOs, entrepreneurs, lawyers, and doctors. She marveled at the idea that someone like her, a girl from a small village, could one day be among them. Her big break came when she was accepted into the University of Lagos. The acceptance letter arrived on a hot afternoon, hand-delivered by the town's only postman. Chioma's hands trembled as she tore open the envelope. Her eyes scanned the words over and over again. "Congratulations, you have been admitted." Tears welled up in her eyes. This was it, her chance to escape the poverty she had known all her life. Her parents celebrated that evening, and though they couldn't afford much, her mother prepared a special meal of jollof rice and fried plantain, a luxury in their household. But even with the acceptance, the road ahead wasn't easy. The family had no money to pay for her tuition or living expenses in Lagos. Her father sold his prized possession, a rusted but cherished motorbike, to raise money for her first semester. "We'll find a way," Obi said, his voice steady but eyes clouded with worry. "You go and make us proud." Chioma left for Lagos with nothing but a small suitcase filled with second-hand clothes, a few worn-out textbooks, and her unshakable determination. The city was everything she had imagined and more, fast-paced, chaotic, and filled with opportunity. The streets were crowded with people hustling from one place to the next, cars honking incessantly, and towering skyscrapers that seemed to scrape the sky. Lagos was a different world from the quiet village she had known. She found a tiny one-room apartment in a run-down part of Yaba, close to the university. The room had only enough space for a thin mattress on the floor, a small table, and a bucket for bathing. The walls were damp from the humidity, and rats scurried in the corners at night. But Chioma didn't care. She was in Lagos, and that meant she was one step closer to achieving her dreams. To support herself, she took on multiple jobs. By day, she attended lectures and studied diligently in the library. By night, she worked as a waitress at a local restaurant, serving food to weary travelers and busy Lagosians. On weekends, she took up a cleaning job at a nearby office, scrubbing floors and dusting furniture. It was exhausting. There were days when Chioma barely got 3 hours of sleep, her body aching from the long hours of work. But each time she felt like giving up, she reminded herself of her parents' sacrifices, of her younger siblings looking up to her, and of the dreams she had carried with her since childhood. She had no choice but to keep going. In her first year of university, Chioma excelled academically. She became known as the quiet, determined girl who was always in the library, her head buried in her books. Her professors took notice, and she quickly earned a reputation as one of the brightest students in her class. But even as she succeeded academically, the weight of her financial struggles grew heavier. The money her father had raised for her first semester was running out fast. One evening, after a particularly long shift at the restaurant, Chioma sat on her mattress and stared at the ceiling, wondering how she would make it through the next semester. She had heard stories of students dropping out because they couldn't afford the fees, and the thought of returning to her village as a failure terrified her. But Chioma wasn't one to give up. She knew that her path to success wouldn't be easy. Life had taught her that much already. She decided she would do whatever it took to continue her education, even if it meant taking on more jobs, eating only once a day, or walking miles to save on transportation costs. Whatever the cost, she would finish her degree. She had come too far to turn back now.